As we draw and sketch this owl, I also want to think of a background for the owl. In the picture, there was he was standing in front of a window, but I think we can do better than that. And so as artists, we can take artistic license and change the picture. We need to do that to make it our own. What I'm going to do is have our eyes come in with maybe a tree line, make some trees back in here, and then have a dark passage coming through here. And I think just even having kind of a V shape through here is going to add interest to this picture. We want to break our picture down into 3 values. A dark, like a black value, a middle value, which is the gray, and a white value. Now, some artists break these down into 7, some break it down into 5, some break it down into 12 different values. But for most of my projects with watercolor, if we do 3 values, they're going to be strong watercolors. So when we look at this owl, this bird, we need to see what are our blacks, what are we going to decide are our blacks, and what are going to be our middle values, and what are going to be our whites. And that is the decision we need to make. If we look at this and say, you know what, we need more white, then maybe we can add a little bit more white. Maybe we can add a little more in his chest. But we want to have enough white. When we do a pen and ink or a watercolor, the most important thing that we need in the picture is white. If we lose our whites, the picture will become dead. It will not have any life. I'm going to start with this Tombow pen and put in just the darks. And again, hopefully our drawing is drawn in such a way that we can trust our drawing. Take your time, do a very good job on this, and start putting in the dark. So I'm going to start coloring this in. There are 2 points to the Tombow. I use the brush point most. The other end is a little skinnier. It's just like a regular marking pen. And let's just go ahead and start to fill these areas in. And all we're going to concentrate on right now are the dark values. So what we're going to put into our picture is just everything that we want black. We're not going to think about the whites. We're not going to think about the grays, just the blacks. As you go along, study your picture, put every little indentation that you want in and change it to make it exactly like you want it to be. We definitely want those pupils to be black, right? So we can blacken in those pupils. And here above the beak, we have some darks that we want, and some darks right in this area. As I'm looking at this, I think we want a little bit of dark around that eye, around that eyebrow, that white eyebrow. Fill that in. Let's do the same thing on this side. And we're going to put just a hair, a little bit of black here, a little bit of black in this area. What you're going to do is just really, really study your picture. And do what the picture says, and then at the end, change it to the way you want it to look, if you want to make any changes. We are now going to take our brush and paint the middle values in this bird. I'm going to use a number 3 white sable. You can basically use any brush that you have on hand for this. A watercolor brush is nice to use. We are going to be painting everything that is gray, anything that we want to be that middle value. And we're not going to touch, we're going to really protect the whites. I'm going to dip the brush in some water, and I'm going to grab, see how I'm grabbing just a little bit of that paint? And I'm going to start to paint, and I'm going to kind of make some feathery marks with this paint as I come down, because this is our chance now to get a little detail going in the owl. So you're just kind of going into the paint, the black that you've already used or put down with your Tombow pen. And I think a lot of this area is gray. When that happens, don't worry, just take a paper towel and wipe it off. We can kind of go back over it. Because I have this at a slant, it tends to run. When you do this yourself, I would not work at a slant. I would just have my paper flat. See, I'm going to grab some black over here and just bring it over this way. So you can grab it from any place and just start bringing that down, making your feathers however you want them. Keep this area soft. As I come over in this area, we definitely want to soften the black. See, we have the black, but it's a hard line. We want it to curve and go around the owl. So we're going to touch a little bit of this black and bring it around. I'm going to leave a little bit of white on this area, but the gray is going to help it make that round, circular feel of the owl. Okay, with the same blue color, we want to start putting some middle values on the top of the owl's head, because this light from the sky is going to be reflected on his body. So we're going to start putting this blue a lot of different places on the owl. Now we're going to go a little bit darker because it is a middle value on the owl. As I go up, I'm going to get just a little bit lighter, and I'm going to just lose that edge a little bit there. Put just a little bit in here and around this area. As you see over here, there's some of this value coming down, little medium value. Just kind of touch the owl where we want some softness. For the blue, we want to finish this blue color. I want to put some of that on the branch as well. So we're going to put that right across here, because the branch is getting some of that reflected light from the sky. And we're going to do that here as well. Guess what? By putting this branch in, we forgot to put a dark value on the bottom, so let's do that before we forget about that, because it needs to have some kind of a dark value. The shading, the shadow of the branch is always going to be underneath if the sun is higher in the sky. So there, that will look better. And then I want to bring that light blue through here as well. Just kind of let that fade out. So it's unimportant, it's barely there. Just kind of brush over a little bit. Let's put a little bit of this blue into these talons, the feet, as some reflected light. That looks good. Okay.